All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about Coffeezilla. And you may as well do a masterclass. Now, you all know Masterclass. It's kind of a scam. It's a lot of horse shit. And basically, let me just go ahead and talk about Masterclass. I'll probably do something on that in the future. It's basically a little Hollywood production where they get these high-profile people from the media where they're going to talk. Oh, wow, it's Christina Aguilera. She's going to talk about singing, right? And it's just completely stupid fucking nonsense. Just complete horseshit. But the whole premise is they're going to give you a little master class on what they do. And, I mean, Coffeezilla, I think, is qualified to maybe give a real master class on truly how to e-beg. So we're going to go over that today. All the little celebrities have a master class. In fact, I haven't shown this yet, but our friend Meredith Whitney, now you know I've covered her. If you haven't seen my videos on her, complete fraud. She's the former CIBC analyst who claims to have predicted the financial crisis, and the media has gone along with it. The media has said that. Why? Well, because she's in the gang. You got it, folks? You understand how certain people of the gang are treated? Been going over this for years. They lie about them. They create all this fiction and mythology and tell you they've done this and that in order to prop them up. Fact, Meredith Whitney did not even come close to predicting the financial crisis. In fact, she had an opportunity to do so, and she completely failed. She's a fraud. She's a liar. Go through the videos I've done on her. I've exposed her 15 years ago. But anyway, she's got a master class with a couple of other people from Wall Street who are more legitimate, for sure. But the fact is that you're not going to hear anything of any real value from the masterclass. It's just a complete stupidity. It's taking advantage of the typical idiot out there who, I'm going to buy a course. I'm going to hear something. I'm going to learn something. And it's funny because Meredith Whitney's in her, I saw the trailer and I've recorded it for later use. It's like all these frauds. It's like this Daniela Booth, who, when she's interviewed, like all she does is like talks about, 15, 20 years ago when, I was at the Fed in the financial crisis. She's trying to create a fake track record. Meredith Whitney's doing the same thing. When I was, because they know they didn't do anything. They're continuing this narrative of fraud. They're trying to rewrite history. I want you all to know that. Show me the fucking results. Give me your fucking evidence. Where's your results? Shut the fuck up. Stop defrauding people. Right? You know what results are, right? Post it. Go ahead. That's results. That's evidence. Go ahead. Post it all. You got it? That's results. That's evidence. That's having predicted the financial crisis in detail with more accuracy than anybody. You got it? Whenever somebody makes a claim, especially a bold claim, you need evidence. Don't ever trust anybody. The media is a complete... Folks, you all understand, anything in media is ad-based content. Anything in media, ad-based content, or in certain cases, if it's not ad-based, there's certain tiers if you pay for it to remove ads. If it's Hollywood-based, all that. It's fake. It's fiction. It's lies. They're going to tell you it's based on a true story. It's fucking lie. It's lies, I'm telling you. Okay? It's Hollywood. CNBC. is Hollywood. It's all lies. They're all liars. They're legally able to lie. You all know that? Okay. So we're going to talk about Coffeezilla's masterclass in e-begging. You should do many masterclasses. You should do one on the art of bait and switch. Bait and switch. Why? Well, because let's think about it for a second. You all know what a bait and switch is, right? Bait and switch is actually illegal. It's a form of fraud. Okay. Now, it's probably covered under the statutes of each state, although I'm sure there's federal statutes as well. Bait and switch is basically when you promote something, you're going to sell something, and you kind of lure people in based upon a certain narrative. And then once you have them, you completely flip the script and sell them something else. You mislead them that way. Okay. So, for example, when I exposed Gold Line more than 15 years ago with Glenn Beck and all these con artists out there, these guys like Peter Schiff promote, hyperinflation, Gold Line, this was back, when all the talking heads, all the right-wing guys typically promote the gold. You all know that, right? I've talked about that because the right-wing guys are typically, right-wing, the Republican types, and there's also kind of the more extreme guys that are, typically these are the people that are going to tell you, we don't like government. Get the government out of the way. We promote liberty and freedom and free market capitalism. So, these are the same people, I want my guns, right? So that whole narrative, that's perfect for pitching gold. Be your own bank. Get out of the Fed. The Fed is evil. So I exposed all the Gold Line fraud a long time ago. Well, turns out they were indicted by the state of California. I think there was maybe 19 or 20 criminal indictments for fraud, one of which was bait and switch. And of course, they basically bought their way out of prison time. So anyway, bait and switch, and their bait and switch was basically they would pitch all this bullshit, this horse shit. You can take a look. Glenn Beck is telling you how, a can of food is going to cost you $15 and shit like this. He would go on Fox and say all this nonsense. Of course, you all know. I mean, Glenn Beck was a fraud from day one. People didn't see it, just like they don't see Tucker Carlson. Oh, well, no, but he says this, and he's a hero. No, you don't understand. No, you don't understand. I'm the big swinging dick. You're the uneducated fucking idiot. Okay. Let me just say something, by the way. And nobody else does this. Like, oh my God, listen, why? Well, because I'm not here to monetize this shit. I don't want to please you. You understand? I'm here to state the facts. This is not a community. You don't have a fucking say. I'm the expert. Sit down, zip your fucking mouth, and learn from someone who's probably a lot older than you, most likely a lot smarter than you, definitely a much more experienced than you. Okay, you see, the internet has created a massive population of people stricken with Dunning-Kruger because they all think they know what's going on. They all think that they're experts at everything. Oh, I did my research. Oh, really? What did that entail? I was on Google. So everyone thinks that they know more than me. And I've been living through this for years. Isn't it funny? Like, I'm the guy that, everyone knows more than me, apparently. That just tells you how stupid the fucking population has become because of the internet. That's one of the main objectives of the internet, to create a dumbed down population. But anyway, bait and switch in Coffeezilla. Bait and switch. Well, what did he do? Well, he's telling you he's a detective. He's a fake guru detective, right? Okay. Aside from the fact that he's never uncovered anything that wasn't already uncovered, right? Aside, we're not even going to get into that aspect. The fact is that you got a guy who markets himself and his channel as he uncovers the fraud, the scams, which is a joke. I've been uncovering fraud and scams, high level, relevant, for a very long time. Okay? And guess what? I never profited from it. I actually suffered from it. I lost business from it. But, my purpose wasn't money. Unlike Coffeezilla, because Coffeezilla monetizes his videos. So where's the bait and switch? Well, he pretends that he's exposing scammers, but he promotes scammers. He actually promotes scammers in many ways. Not only does he sell ads for scammers, he's a business partner. He's a business partner with scammers because he's selling advertisements for scammers on his channel. There are scam ads on his channel. I have seen it. So think about that. Why are you monetizing your channel? You know that most of the ads on ScamTube are from scammers. Think about that. Because it's all about the money, folks. It's just another pitch. It's just another way to make money on YouTube. They all have their own little spin. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give to charity. I'm going to give to the kids. I'm going to be a financial guru. I'm going to uncover the frauds. Well, guess what? If you monetize on ScamTube, you're a scammer. Write that down. Take it to the fucking bank. I've talked about why. I've proven it. It's a fact. But he also has actually explicitly, directly promoted scammers. He's given life to scammers. He grew Tom Nash's channel. He promoted Tom Nash as an investment expert. Tom Nash is a fraud. Not only was Tom Nash a paid whore for FTX, Tom Nash claimed he had more than 10 years experience at a Wall Street firm, a top Wall Street firm, as a senior analyst. No, complete lies. This is who Coffeezilla promoted. And Tom Nash has gone on to scam people, to deceive people, to defraud people. Has Coffeezilla ever said anything? No, nothing. Did he ever apologize? No. He built Tom Nash's channel. Coffeezilla, you're responsible in part for anyone who's lost money from Tom Nash, whether it be through FTX or through all his stock blowups and all his deception. Do you hear anything about that? No, never. I know this Jake Tran fucking clown. I know who he is. He's a fucking clown. Folks, if you want to see how stupid the human population has become, and we're talking about the lowest level, look on YouTube and look at the biggest YouTubers. And you're like, why are people following these people? They're fucking stupid. And most of them started off as gamers. That tells you their fucking audience. I'm going to play video game. You want to watch me? Yeah. I mean, Honestly, the human population doesn't deserve to exist anymore. It doesn't. Between the complete degradation of the human mind, between that and the ubiquitous scams and scammers throughout the world, in my opinion, the human population no longer deserves to exist. It's over. Put us away and let's start fresh. God, I call the end of Earth. Take care of it. I'm going to sacrifice myself, even though I'm not part of that. I'm not the majority. Just take care of us, God, and start over. But he also promoted Patrick Boyle. Patrick Boyle, this is a matter of opinion, of course, but whether he's a fraud or not, he's certainly dishonest. He's certainly a chump. He's certainly an e-beggar and a pathetic individual. Patrick Boyle. Why? Well, when you come on YouTube and you promote yourself, you brand yourself, you create a brand as what have you. In Patrick Boyle's case, he established a brand. I'm a hedge fund manager, he said. That was his whole YouTube brand. He was promoted as a hedge fund manager by Coffeezilla. Did Coffeezilla research him? Remember, he's the detective. Coffeezilla, nothing gets past him. Right? It doesn't take a whole lot of effort to realize that Patrick Boyle was not a hedge fund manager by the time he went on YouTube. He was an ex-hedge fund manager. And I even question to what extent he was even involved. I personally don't think he was really involved that much. Just because he's listen to the guy. He's pretty disconnected from the capital markets as far as I'm concerned. I can listen to someone and tell you if they know what's going on. That's why I knew from day one instantly that Tom Nash was an absolute fraud, never worked as an analyst, didn't have an MBA. It was obvious. The guy's a fucking idiot. Not to mention the fact that he doesn't have good communication skills. So, Patrick Boyle, once again, Coffeezilla built Patrick Boyle's channel. And he built it based upon deception. Some of you may not think it's a big deal. Oh, well, what's it matter if he's a hedge fund manager or an ex-hedge fund manager? Will you ask yourself that question? If I build a channel and I say, I'm a hedge fund manager, okay? And then you build a channel and you say, well, ex-hedge fund manager, right? Which one's going to get more credibility, more attention? Because X implies that you're a failure. You fucked up. You blew up. You're a loser. Okay? Especially if you're an ex-hedge fund manager and now you're having to go to YouTube. Think about it. You all might recall, I mentioned this a while back, a couple of years ago, on the previous channel that was hijacked and taken down because I was exposing too many frauds. So you get a target on your back when you're exposing these guys. You might recall I talked about how Patrick Boyle, I said, wait a second. So Patrick Boyle is the first hedge fund manager in world history to e-beg. Coffeezilla, hey, genius boy. Think about it, genius boy. Why would a hedge fund manager be on YouTube e-begging? You can't be on YouTube, have a regular channel if you're a hedge fund manager. or you're probably going to get sued. Why? Because if you're a hedge fund manager, you have discretion. You are managing discretionary assets. You have discretionary authority. You all understand what that means? Discretion? That's a legal term in the securities industry. If you are a fiduciary, that's more of a legal term actually, a fiduciary, serving as a fiduciary, that's what hedge fund managers do, many other financial professionals, depending upon how they're structuring their business. But all hedge fund managers, by definition, by the way that the fund is run, they're serving a discretionary capacity. And that means they have a certain responsibility to their investors. You can't go on fucking YouTube and make YouTube videos if you're a hedge fund manager. Have your own channel and do that. Or when your fund is not doing well, your investors are going to say, wait a second, what the fuck are you doing on YouTube? You should be, you're underperforming. You understand? So I knew that. I mean, that's just obvious. Can you show me any hedge fund manager who's got a regular YouTube channel? Think about it. That's why they don't have any. You just learned something now that nobody else on YouTube knows or has ever talked about. And it's actually really high level relative to the YouTube information. But it's really basic shit. Really fucking basic. But basic in the real world is super high level on YouTube. So I knew just instantly without even thinking that he wasn't a hedge fund manager when he started his YouTube channel. And I mentioned that if he's a hedge fund manager, he's the first in history to e-beg on YouTube. Hedge fund managers are among the highest paid, most highly compensated individuals in the world. Not all of them, but generally speaking. Why? It's because they're great? No. It's because they get a lot of fees, even if their performance isn't so good. I'm not going to even get into that. But generally speaking, they're well compensated, even if they don't have big funds. Okay? So he didn't want to tell people, Patrick Boyle, that he was an ex-hedge fund manager. And Coffeezilla, the detective, didn't bother to truly vet Patrick Boyle. And Coffeezilla built up Patrick Boyle's channel. Ever since that time, Patrick Boyle, the failed hedge fund manager, who apparently he's such a loser, he can't get back into the financial industry. So he's kind of part-time teaching some courses at some university. And I might add, with just an MBA, which is a pathetic joke. And that just kind of points to the joke in the business world, in terms of the academic business world. You can actually teach university courses with an MBA. An MBA is one of the most useless degrees in the world. Why? Well, because it's the only master's. Well, there's probably some other ones and kind of really soft majors, but it's one of the only master's degrees that you can imagine that you don't have any prerequisites. Anybody can go into MBA school with any major. You might need to take one accounting course or something, but for the most part, there's no prerequisites. If you want to get into a graduate degree program, or say get your master's in chemistry, in physics, engineering, or psychology, you name it, English. Well, English you might not have to. I would say, if you're really skilled, but you will understand. You have to have an undergrad degree in those majors. Why? Because a master's degree builds upon your undergraduate degree. You need a foundation. MBA, you don't need any foundation. In my opinion, MBA is kind of like what should be required to show that you actually learned something from your undergraduate degree. Right? So my point is that to have an MBA teaching college courses in business is a joke. It's pathetic. It's sad. And it points to the joke of business school, in my opinion. Right? You never heard that, have you? I've been talking about that for many, many, many years. So my point is that it's not even like Patrick Ball as if he's a PhD. He spent 2 years taking a handful of courses, and you would think that, well, okay, if he's a PhD, he's not really wanted or employable in the financial industry, right? But Patrick Boyle spent time in the financial industry, allegedly. He allegedly had a hedge fund he was involved with directly, allegedly. I don't know how directly he was involved with it, but why couldn't he go back? Because he failed. He failed. So he's on YouTube e-begging, making stupid videos, stupid content geared towards fucking children. Why? Because he needs to milk the fucking ad revenues to support himself. You understand? Of course, business school is not legit. It's a fucking joke, man. I mean, when you've got people, including myself, who's never taken a business course in his life, who writes a book that's used for MBA programs. In fact, America's Financial Apocalypse should be in all business schools. But I wrote another book that was used in MBA programs. So, I mean, that just kind of tells you right there. Business school's a fucking joke, man. It's a complete joke. I'm not even going to, that's another topic of discussion. I'm not going to get into that today. So you have Coffeezilla. He's promoted scammers. And I think Patrick Boyle, based upon his miscategorization of himself on YouTube, I believe that qualifies him as a scammer. Why? Because I specifically, on numerous occasions, many years ago, I came onto YouTube and I saw this guy and I started posting comments. You're not a hedge fund manager. You may have been one before, but you're not one now. And all those comments were deleted for years. So Patrick Boyle's a scammer. He's a dishonest person. He's never come out and said, yeah. In fact, on his profile, you'll still see he calls himself a hedge fund manager. When it got out, though, eventually, that he wasn't a hedge fund manager anymore, some of the videos, you'll see ex-hedge fund manager. Okay. Let's get to Coffee Boy here. Let's talk about his Masterclass now. I talked about a potential one he could do on the art of bait and switch. So let's listen to this now. And you're going to have all the fanboys. Remember, folks, everyone that's got like a normal YouTube channel, normal YouTube channel. Mine's not normal. When I say normal, It's monetized. They want to build a community, right? They're all cults. They have cult members. Remember, the internet has been designed, all these platforms have been designed for people to create cults, whether it's on Facebook groups, so on and so forth. You understand? It's all about creating cults, empowering the channel owners, the account owners to create cult followings. Why? Because ultimately the platform makes more money that way, because the owners can throw out their shit, their ads, their bullshit. You understand? So people are in cults. It's fact. You can write it the fuck down. I'm not some fucking chump. I know this stuff. It's obvious. This is why when you criticize one of the cult members of these channels or accounts, what have you, you'll see they all start crying. Oh no, you don't understand. They'll never, in other words, when you're in a cult, it's virtually impossible to break away. It's virtually impossible. You can't be told anything. Doesn't matter how much evidence you will show that your cult member is a liar, a fraud, or completely wrong. The cult leader, the cult member won't believe it. They've got a combination of cognitive dissonance and confirmation bias. You understand? Perhaps you all have encountered this before. If you want to learn about business, by the way, you don't go to business school. Take a look at professors in college. If you want to study sociology, your professor is a sociologist, right? If you want to study chemistry, your professor is a chemist. In business school, ask yourself how many of those professors have actually run a fucking business, right? If you're studying chemistry, the chemistry professors, they've done chemistry. They've worked in a lab. They've actually done chemistry. Business school professors, they're like, it's all theoretical. Folks, business is not fucking theory. You want to learn about business, you open a fucking business. You will get a better business education if you open a lemonade fucking stand than if you go to business school. You write that the fuck down. That's fact. If you want to learn about business, the better way to learn is to open up any kind of business, including something as simple as a fucking lemonade stand. Write that down. See, what you're not hearing, what no one else is telling you, probably they don't know this. Business school is designed specifically to make you a fucking cog, to make you a grunt. If you want to work as a corporate grunt, go to business school. They're giving you the tools necessary to be a grunt, to work in the corporate world, to do nothing, basically. You're not learning about business. That's why, you think you can run a business if you go to business school? You see? That's the fact you're never going to hear. Okay? And for anybody who doesn't agree with that, well, let me remind you, aside from my credibility and track record in the investment world, having predicted the financial crisis with more accuracy than anybody, and I'll once again wager anybody in the world 100 grand on that. It's got to be 100 grand. Come on, make it worth my time and effort. That offer's been out there for 15 years, just about. Well, almost about 12 years. Aside from all that, remember, I never took a business course in my life. Yet, I've written a book that's used for MBA programs. So, if you think my assessment of business school is inaccurate, I probably have some credibility there since I've written a book that's used in MBA schools. I've written a book that teach MBA students, and I never had a business training, formal business background. That says something, I think, right? What does it say? Well, I learned about business being in the real world. Okay? Anyway. So let's get back now to Coffeezilla. And let's listen to this.
Hello, and welcome to the Patreon. I want to thank you for checking us out, whether you support or not, by showing you a sneak peek of what we're building here at the end of this video. But first, I want to talk about Coffeezilla itself, my vision for it, how it's changed. Because with this Patreon, I'm asking for your direct support, and you should know what I'm going to do with it, what you get for it, and of course, why Patreon now? And the simple answer is I want to make more of the high effort content you and I both care about by changing how this channel supports itself. Let me explain. Traditionally, this channel has always been a healthy balance of two types of content. You have the A-tier, high-effort investigations like Save the Kids or Rubet, and then you also have C-tier content, sort of smaller videos that are scattered in between those uploads. Now, those C-tier videos actually make up the majority of the ad revenue that enable me and my small team of 2 other employees to survive.
You hear that? Ad revenue. Ad revenue. So here now take a look. This is a year ago. 2 years ago. 2 years ago. You see that? So note he's already e-begging 2 years ago. He's also acknowledging he's making his money through ads. Okay? And none of his fucking cult members question that. Well, I'm sure you're going to find some comments at some point. I actually saw a comment. I looked for it. Somebody actually called him out, saying, "Hey, you're e-begging. You're looking for people to pay for your legal fees." It was funny. So he's already e-begging 2 years ago, right? Now, this is something interesting. As seen on Netflix. I don't think you've been on Netflix. What is this? Is this supposed to be a joke? Right? He's basically using the brand of Netflix to promote himself. Is he not? Think about that. This is fraud. Okay. Well, if he was on FTX documentary on Netflix, that just tells you what a fucking joke. Because he had nothing to do with FTX. Although I'm sure he claims it. This guy claims he exposes things. He doesn't expose anything. Right? Yet, it's the media scam. It's the media scam. If the media tells you something, you're going to believe it. And once again, he's a useful idiot. The purpose he's serving is he's the dumb guy that's pointing to obvious fraud, right? In order to protect the entire industry, the cryptocurrency industry, for instance, the whole cryptocurrency industry is a fraud. It's absolute fraud from so many angles. Okay, it's a criminal industry. It's fact. It's fact. Anybody in the world out there, you crypto boys, get your highest level expert. They won't go up against me on a neutral platform. I'm not talking about some fucking moron, BitBoy, I'm talking high level person. Okay? The highest level. Okay? You see, because I want one of these guys to risk losing something, losing face, losing credibility. If there's some fucking clown, they don't risk losing anything. Some high profile person who's perceived to be this or that, they won't go up against me because they know I'll cut them down with the facts. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. I've been exposing cryptocurrencies. I mean, I don't even like focus. It's so obvious. I expose it from day one as a scam. More than 10 years ago. Okay. I mean, it's an obvious scam. It's it. Done. That's it. Move on. I've been mentioned about 6-7 months before. I mean, before FTX collapsed, I mentioned it was a Ponzi scheme. And I talked about the scenarios. I was warning people, if FTX goes bankrupt, I mentioned you lose your stocks. You see, because they had a stock platform. I said, you lose it. I've talked many times for many years about these guys. You know, they can take your money, right? You understand. So Coffeezilla, he serves as a useful idiot. Does he talk about all the fake trading volume and all the fake bid and ask prices that are going through the exchanges? No. He just talks about, Logan Paul is a scammer. Oh. You understand? He's a low-level fucking simpleton, useful idiot whose purpose, and this is why he gets promoted, his purpose is to basically call out the obvious scammers who everyone knows is a scam already. And if you don't know they're a scam, you've got brain damage. It has already been exposed so that you think that the whole industry is legit. That's what a useful idiot does. You see? Instead of what I've been doing from day one, reminding people that cryptocurrencies are being used. And some of you want to look past that. Well, guess what? If you have a daughter that's trafficked, or if you have somebody, and it may happen to you, who is scammed and extorted through cryptocurrency, right? Or somebody that suffers a consequence or death, let's say death even through drug abuse, right? Cryptocurrency is a huge means to fuel illegal drug trafficking, human sex trafficking, illegal body parts trafficking, money laundering, ransomware. It's a criminal portal. I mean, I knew this, 10 years ago when I actually saw Bitcoin exchanges in the backs of Mexican restaurants. Like, you'd go to some some authentic Mexican restaurant, and there'd be guys where you can exchange fucking Bitcoin in the back. I mean, this was like 10 years ago. I'm like, okay, so what's going on here? Right? This is a clown, a fraud, Steven Findelstein, Coffeezilla, who's going to tell you that Bitcoin is legit. Cryptocurrencies are legit. It's just some of the guys like Andrew Tate, he would say, or Logan Paul, they're scammers, he's going to tell you. But he's going to tell you cryptocurrency is legit. No, it's not. No, it's not. You're a dummy. I'm an expert. You're wrong. You're a fraud. You're making money promoting scammers and scams. Coffeezilla is a fraud. Coffeezilla is a business partner with cryptocurrency and fake investment guru scam artists. He promotes them. He sells ads for them on his channel. If you're really going after scammers, why are you selling advertisements on your videos for scammers? Oh, well, it helps me fund my operations. No, it helps you get fucking filthy rich. I've never asked for a fucking penny. I've never earned a single fucking penny. I have actually spent and sacrificed tens of millions of dollars, if not more, over the past 16, 17, 18 years for which I have been exposing scammers. Never asked for a fucking penny. I did it as a public service to help people. Nobody who's making money exposing people is truly, number one, exposing people or doing it for the right purpose. It's a grift. You understand? Every single YouTuber's got their own angle on YouTube. If they're monetizing their channel, they're not legit. They're owned by YouTube. They've signed a contract with YouTube. YouTube's a scam portal. You all know that. YouTube is a scam portal. I've talked about it. I've proven it. YouTube promotes and allows people to promote illegal drug use, pedophilia, illegal prostitution, human sex trafficking, and most notably scams. The only thing YouTube is focused on is you can't speak the truth. You can't speak the truth when it involves a certain group, a certain mafia. Because you know who runs YouTube. The same mafia. Talk about that? Oh no, you're gone. You can scam people. You can fuck them over. You can do anything you want. You just can't say the truth about the criminal mafia. Think about that for a second. This is the fact that everybody knows. I just reminded you. You probably didn't think about it, but I just reminded you about that fact. You understand? So let's get back now to, you saw the plea 2 years ago. And so let's take a look. 2 years ago, he's telling you, well, he comes up with the high effort A-level investigations. No, you're a fraud. And by the way, contact this runt, this clown, okay, this weasel. Tell him I want to confront him. I've got questions for him. Okay. He's always wanting to confront people, right? I want to confront him. Let's go, coffee boy. It's not going to happen. You see? He's a hypocrite. Because he knows it'd be too damning for him to expose all his fucking scams. Whether it's promoting one of the biggest fake investment guru scam artists out there, Tom Nash, or the fact that he's a business partner with the scammers on YouTube because he accepts monetization. He gets money from the scam ads. Let's take a look here. He does videos, stupid videos, just to get views, ad revenues. Right? Just reporting on stuff, right? See that? And then he's going to tell you about, some guy got arrested. Okay, that's $5,000 right there. Boom. $6,000. Another one. He stole $40 million and got caught. Oh, wow. That's 10 grand right there. 12 grand for that video. Another news video, right? You understand what I'm saying? And of course, he's on Joe Rogan because he's a useful idiot. I've already talked about that. See all these videos here? Just reporting, just banking in the money. You understand? That right there classifies him as a fucking scammer. But let's take a look at this video here. YouTubers get sued for $1 billion. This is the FTX influencer scam for YouTube. Let's take a look here. Where is that? I want to show you this video. It's interesting. So take a look here. Look at the picture. There were eight YouTubers. And let me remind everybody, these scammers, these pieces of garbage. And by the way, remember, and it's funny because you'll see people, this guy Stathis, he said this. Yeah, it's right, you dummy. It's right. I'm fucking right. Shut your mouth, little twerp. These guys that you see in front of you, they're all related. They're all related. In fact, every single person in the FTX lawsuit from YouTube, with the exception of two people, one of which their spouse is related. They're all related. I mean, then you look at the representation of this group in the population, then you're talking about some compelling statistics of approaching impossibility, unless there's some type of something going on. Okay. But take a look at this picture. You see four of them. You don't see Tom Nash here, do you? Remember, Tom Nash is the guy that Coffeezilla, he built this channel. Tom Nash is a fraud. Confirmed fraud. And all these people, including those not listed here in this lawsuit, they all settled for a few $1,000s. Just a handful of money. I think Kevin maybe settled for the largest amount, but still it was a fraction of what he made shilling for FTX. Graham Stephan settled for just like $3,000, and he made probably more than $1 million. Probably, if you look at the videos, as well as the endorsements and affiliate, he probably made a couple of $1 million. These people are criminals. These people that you're looking at, I'm not going to call Coffeezilla a criminal. I don't know this Bit Boy. I mean, he was obviously involved. Aside from his FTX, I don't know. But these three, I've seen their shit. In my opinion, I'd call them criminals. They're not legally criminals. I consider them criminals. They're frauds. They're scammers. Write it down. Take it to the fucking bank. This is why crime pays. They've proven crime pays. And you better believe they're going to fuck you again. They're fucking you now because there's no penalty. Just like all these fraudsters out there, whether it's Norel Robini, Meredith Whitney, Ray Dalio, you name it. All these guys claiming they predicted the financial crisis, and they did not. They fucking did not. I'll go to fucking court. We can prove it in goddamn court. Because I've already gone through everything. They continue to lie because there's no penalty. And in fact, the media even goes along with it because there's no penalty for them. It's fraud. They are enriching themselves through lies. That's fraud. Can't do that. Unfortunately, our legal system doesn't cover that except for civil litigation, right? Which that's even difficult. The only way is the FTC, and that requires a plethora of complaints. But of course, that means that the population is not fooled, you see. So you don't see Tom Nash here, even though he's one of the persons named in the lawsuit. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the video.
The influencers who promoted FTX are now being sued for over $1 billion in damages, and I want to talk about it. We're not only speaking to a lawyer, but even...
This guy's a clown. Okay, I've already talked about it. He's a fucking clown. You can tell him I said it. I call him a fake lawyer. Maybe he has a law degree. Doesn't matter. If you're on fucking YouTube making videos, you're not a real lawyer. You're a fucking YouTube lawyer. You can't cut it in the business, so you're trying to come on YouTube and pitch bullshit. You're a loser, dude. You're just a fucking loser. And this guy has become, he's the face of scammers on YouTube.
Talk about it.
This guy.
We're not only...
This guy. He's part of the circle jerk. He's part of the, he's aligned with all these guys. I mean, he's an attorney. Where do you think his morals are? He has no fucking morals. You all know about attorneys. This guy basically said there's no merit to the legal claims against these scammers to the FTX lawsuit. Okay? That's complete horseshit. He's also supported Scott Schaefer, Coffeezilla. You understand. They're all in a big circle jerk, folks. Why? Folks, I told you, if you want to spot a con man, a scammer, identify one and see who they hang out with. And I also mentioned one of the golden rules is con artists, scammers form syndicates. They form syndicates. They form groups. They align with each other. Why? Because they're more powerful that way. All these YouTubers, they're all emailing each other. They're all talking all the time. You want to understand that. They're there unifying, allying as a way to build their business, to sell more ads, to promote each other. You understand? Oh, he's a good guy. Just like Tom Nash makes a video a couple of years ago defending Meet Kevin. You understand? They talk bad sometimes just to get views about some of these guys. But the backstory, the back line, they were all laughing about it. Of course, I mean, look at this guy. He's related to these guys as well. I mean, you can't tell?
Speaking to a lawyer, but even one of the people getting sued. Meet Kevin, Graham Stephan, Andre Jick, Minority Mindset, Brian Jung, Financial Education Jeremy, Tom Nash, and BitBoy Crypto are all defendants in this lawsuit. But before we get into it, I have to do something I never thought I would do on this channel. I have to defend a certain person on that list.
So notice he's talking about people on that list, and he talks about this BitBoy or something. A Coffeezilla, Scam Boy, Scam Promoter Coffeezilla, Useful Idiot Coffeezilla. If you're going to talk about somebody off that, why don't you take the opportunity to apologize for promoting Tom Nash, who's a fraud. He doesn't do that. He doesn't talk about Tom Nash at all. He points out one time Tom Nash is on that list. He doesn't show any pictures. He doesn't say, oh yeah, by the way, I made many videos with Tom Nash. I promoted him as an expert. I apologize. I mean, he didn't even have to say, well, Tom Nash was lying about his credentials. You understand? He doesn't even acknowledge that he had promoted Tom Nash. He's a very dishonest piece of shit. You all see that, right? He's just like all these guys, folks. They're all the same. Once you enter into that contract, that business arrangement with ScamTube, the monetization arrangement with ScamTube, their whole long list of criminals and scammers that sell ads that you're going to be partnering with, you've done a deal with the devil. You're owned by YouTube and the scammers. They got you. Okay? So let's take a look now. And I typed in Logan here. How many videos, and I'm sure he's done some more that he talks about him, but these are just in the title. Just take a look at the views. Coffeezilla has made over the past couple of years several hundreds of thousands of dollars on videos from Logan Paul. Several hundreds of thousands of dollars from ad revenue. Okay? Think about that. So keep that in mind. Okay? Not just, Logan Paul, I'm going to talk about this. You make one video. If you think he's a scammer, do your scam expose video. Why are you making 20 videos? Because you're milking the ad system. You're milking the ad portal. And think about that. He wants to make more money selling ads. What are those advertisements? Well, I can assure you some of those ads, depending upon the person, if you're going through and you're looking at investment content, trading content, so on and so forth, you're going to see scam ads. Coffeezilla is making all this money selling ads for scammers. He is subjecting his audience to the dangers of seeing scam ads. He's putting them in harm's way to make money. You don't need to monetize. All you need to do is get a real job. I know you failed in real estate, apparently. Maybe you can try it again. Get a job, and you can make videos in your spare time. You don't need to sell ads for scammers, Coffeezilla. Why are you doing that? That's the bait and the switch he should do a masterclass on. How to show people how to pretend like you're a scam buster. In reality, you're making money from the scammers, partnering with them by promoting them and by selling ads for them. But today we're not here to talk about that potential masterclass he could give. We're here to talk about the masterclass on the subtle art, or the art of subtle e-begging. Now, you saw earlier this plea, but he does it again. This is 2 years ago. I showed you this because he's already e-begging before, and of course he's being sued by Logan Paul. Before he got this lawsuit, he's e-begging. Okay. And let me just point this out. This is a channel that has since changed its name. And also, Coffeezilla has tried to distance himself. This is one of Coffeezilla's partners, this dude. And Coffeezilla used to have this channel listed on his channel. It's no longer there. He doesn't want you to see it because you look at all the Tom Nash videos here. You see? But that's not all. You've got Tom Nash here, right? Promoting his, Coffeezilla's promoting his channel here. This video is an opinion. It is in no way should be construed as statements of fact. Scams, bad business opportunities, and fake gurus are subjective terms that mean different things to different people. I think someone who promises $100,000 per month for an upfront fee of $2,000 is a scam. Others call it a Napoleon Hill pitch. Well, how about someone who promotes FTX and tells you even later on that FTX is fine right? You saw the video with Tom Nash the day before FTX filed for bankruptcy, and Tom Nash removed that video. Remember, Tom Nash is not only a fraud, a scammer who's lied about his credentials. He doesn't have any real credentials. This is how he's made his money. He's pulled in people with this false narrative. He's also removed videos, deleted videos, re-edited videos to hide his terrible calls and scams. Coffeezilla, why don't you call that out? Why don't you investigate Tom Nash, Coffeezilla, the guy that you promoted, you built this channel? Because you're a fraud. You're a fraud. That's what you are. Nobody can deny that. I've got the proof. I've shown you guys. He's a fraud. He's a grifter. He's just another fucking grifter on YouTube, milking the scam ad system and pretending he's the good guy. Here you go. The horrible mistake was when Coffeezilla, you promoted these fuckers. Now, I want you all to watch this video. Once again, I saw it one time, like a few years ago. So I can't speak, maybe I was expecting too much, but from my memory, I was pretty shocked on how this guy, this hedge fund manager who Coffeezilla recruited, or I think Patrick Boyle probably went to him. Oh, yeah, I want to get views. So can you? That's what it was. I'm quite positive Patrick Boyle went to Coffeezilla and said, "Okay, I'll help you. I'll expose these guys." I was quite shocked how Patrick Boyle, he'd laid low on him. He didn't come out. I mean, you saw the video I just made, right? Video I just made. Day trading is a scam. I mean, watch the video. Anybody promoting trading as an investment strategy is a scam. They're fucking frauds. Everybody. I mean, I've been talking about this for fucking years, many years. Patrick Boyle went easy on the trading. So he doesn't even, oh yeah, well, yeah, I don't think so. And I was thinking, like, this is weird. Like, why isn't he throwing the hammer down? And the reason why, it's because Patrick Boyle is a spineless pussy. And he's a dishonest piece of crap who promoted himself as a hedge fund manager on YouTube when, in fact, he was an ex-hedge fund manager. He was a failed hedge fund manager. When, in fact, Patrick Boyle was actually doing the same thing that Coffeezilla was criticizing. Patrick Boyle was attempting to trade. His hedge fund was trading commodities, basically day trading commodities, and he failed. Think about the irony of that. He's actually asking a guy who is trying to trade for a living, asking him to call trading a scam. And he doesn't even, Coffeezilla doesn't even investigate enough to see what the fuck's going on because he's just fucking idiot. It's out of his fucking league. Once again, he had the opportunity, possibly, I don't know. Somebody passed him into me. Oh no, he doesn't want to talk to me. I'm a world fucking authority. You should want to suck my big Greek fucking dick, coffee boy, just to talk to me. For the chance to talk to me. But no, you want to deceive people. You don't want the truth. You want to deceive people and protect your mafia, your criminal mafia boys, to game the system. And yeah, you dupe a lot of people. The media's come in. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, he's exposing the, oh yeah. And everyone believes it because they're fucking stupid. Well, guess what? I'm the one with credibility. I'm the one that's right. You can have a billion people saying something, doesn't mean it's right. You can't change the facts. You can lie about it. You can deceive people, but the facts don't change. Patrick Boyle is a hedge fund manager at Palomar Fund. No, he's not. he was disassociated with that fund in 2019. I've shown that, have I not? I've already got the records on that. Okay. Former investment banker. Wait a second. No, he's former hedge fund manager. Okay. You can just watch this video for yourself. Oh, so now he's got a reading list for you. Oh, Patrick Boyle. And well, I don't know whose reading list this is. You don't have my book on here. You're a chump. Look, Ray Dalio's. So here's the scam, by the way. I haven't done this, but I'm willing to bet these are affiliate links. Let's take a look. Yeah, you see that? So Patrick Boyle is such a pathetic, shameless e-beggar. He gave Coffeezilla affiliate links to post. Look at that. Patrick Boy. Let me see. Let's make sure. Let's make sure here. Yeah, Patrick Boy. You see that? Nobody else caught this. I just now looked at it for the first time. Think about that. So Coffeezilla is allowing this guy, he's telling him to post these links in these books. And Patrick Boyle is making money off it. So these are books endorsed by Patrick Boyle. And of course, he's got money attached to it. And most of these books, I can tell you, are fucking joke. The other ones I don't know about. Ray Dalio's Principles. I mean, think about it. Patrick Boyle is saying this is legit. I've already debunked this fucking horse shit. I don't know this. I don't know this. This is just a stupid book promoting Buffett, so it's fucking garbage. This is bullshit. Basically saying the efficient market hypothesis is correct. Although the bottom line message is relatively valuable, and that's just basically you got to buy the index. So the message is valuable for most people, but it's not. But the underlying theory is not correct, because there are people who can beat the S&P. It's that if you don't have a competitive advantage, if you don't have like high level expertise, you don't have a fucking chance. So just buy the S&P. Okay, so Michael Lewis is a fraud, disinformation, bullshit. I mean, this is just okay, who cares about the failure of a hedge fund from 30 years ago? I don't care. Not important. What am I going to learn from that? Right? Just stupid stuff. This guy, Nassim, fucking clown, total clown, and this Jack Swagger, Market Woods is a complete fucking horse shit, completely useless crap. I've seen it. I was like, what is this horse shit? So some guys just talk about how great they are. Folks, you're going to buy an investment book. You want to learn from that. What the fuck have you learned from it? What did you learn to help you a better investor? This is all fucking just rambling, rant, hair bullshit. But of course, it serves Patrick Boyle's purpose of these are perceived great books. Perceived. Ask yourself who I am. And I'm just telling you, these are fucking all garbage, waste of time. Okay? Garbage, waste of time, horse shit. Don't waste your time. Think about that. Patrick Boyle, is there any affiliate disclosure here? No, there's nothing. Patrick Boyle, you and Coffeezilla have broken the law right here. That's right. There's no affiliate disclosure. Coffeezilla doesn't even tell you, right? He shows you this is Patrick Boyle's channel. He doesn't even tell you that this is Patrick Boyle's reading list. So people think it's Coffeezilla's. Coffeezilla, did you know these are affiliate links? You probably did because you're a fucking twerp. You're a fucking airhead. I mean, you know he didn't know that because, I mean, if he did know that, then Coffeezilla is is explicitly guilty of violating federal law. I'm the detective here. I just solved 2 fucking crimes. Boom. That's how good I am. Boom. Show me the site. Boom. That quick. Done. It's easy pickings. Anyway. Look at these guys. This is the whole, the face, no shame. Making stupid expressions to get people to click. You've got no shame. You're a fucking loser. Shameless, pathetic loser. Anybody that makes those little pictures, shameless, money-worshipping loser. Clickbait. Clickbait, by the way, is dishonest. I consider anybody that engages in clickbait as a scammer. So he repeats the bullshit. No, not a hedge fund manager. Wrong. So he's promoting Patrick Ball as a hedge fund manager. Once again, Coffeezilla built this guy's channel. He had virtually no subscribers. And hedge fund manager teaches me how to invest. So think about this for a second. Think about the fraud, the scam behind this video. Hedge fund, first of all, he's not a hedge fund manager. He's an ex-hedge fund manager. But second of all, he trades commodities. He doesn't even know anything about fucking stocks. He's trading, folks, Forex, the futures markets is gambling. I talk about that. I tell people all the time. I actually provide futures, Forex, commodities, precious metals, research. Not trading signals, research. And I tell people, if you trade this stuff, it's gambling. The odds are against you. What you want to do, if you're going to do it, is you monitor it, you follow it, and you wait for the big moves. You wait for the big moves. Jump on gold in the bull market, as I advised several months ago. You jump on oil when there's going to make a big move. You understand? You don't. People that do this on a daily basis, it's a recipe for disaster. You're not going to win. You're going to lose. Right? This is what Patrick Ball was doing with his little fund, which is why it got blown up. So think about this. I explained to you what Patrick Ball was involved with, and then take a look at the title of this video. Teaches you how to invest. Invest or trade risky assets. Short-term trading of risky assets. You understand? It's a scam. Does Coffeezilla know this? Well, if he doesn't, that makes him have no credibility. Apparently, he doesn't know anything. He doesn't do any decent, like the most basic level of due diligence. See that? I don't even need to watch the video. It's fucking clickbait, horseshit. Let's see this. Market correction. Let's see what he has to say here.
So, okay, let me ask you this. It seems like every 18-year... But am I cynical for thinking, and just in general, that we are overdue for some sort of correction? Because let me explain my thinking on this.
So here you go. Coffeezilla now is coming in and talking about a market correction. Because well, he's reading about it. People are saying it. So now Coffeezilla is getting in to this realm.
Seems like, okay, if you go to a doctor's office and somebody slammed a hammer on your hand, your hand's all mangled.
Now, keep in mind, this is after the NASDAQ had already begun, had topped
and the
out,
person
and already sold off.
Is not reacting. The hand is not hurt yet. There's something wrong with the situation, okay? You're going to go, oh, you'll feel that tomorrow, whatever. In the same way, I feel like the stock market or the economy got like hammered by the virus. And then the stock market did not reflect what had happened to the economy. And it's sort of, I feel like it hasn't reflected that. Maybe you can explain differently, but am I cynical for just like waiting for us to feel the pain?
It's a funny thing because if we look back a year, the market actually...
So here's what we want to hear Patrick Ball's answer to this.
reacted very rationally because, if you remember January through March of 2020, the market sold off horrifically, like it was just down. And then essentially like the global governments just came out and said, it doesn't make sense for all of these, we'll say good, well-run businesses to just be shut down because of a random event that happened. And so they intervened in the markets essentially saying that if you're running a bit, like if you owned a restaurant, they say to you, we're not going to have your restaurant go bust, but equally you can't open the restaurant. And all businesses got that, PPP and other type, it was a global thing. But what it meant was that you could invest in stocks and in companies with the idea that they won't, at least in the short term, shut down because of COVID. So then it became that you just looked at the long-term earnings. You essentially looked through the whole COVID event towards the bounce back, and now I guess we're in the bounce back. And the question is, have things gotten too frothy? Like, there's always this problem in markets where if investors don't ever sort of get punished for bad people.
What are you hearing? I'm not hearing an answer. I'm hearing bullshit. I'm hearing like extraneous explanation of what's happened in history. He's dancing around. I mean, I'm not. Give me a fucking answer, boy.
Behavior for sort of taking inappropriate risk.
They do more bad behavior.
Take more risk, right? And so that's kind of what we're possibly seeing is that not only have investors kind of decided that there's no way they can lose money, but they've also decided that the craziest bets are the best bets, because if risk doesn't exist, well, then you just shoot for return. Well, normally you're trying to balance risk and return.
So, okay, let me ask you this.
So he didn't answer the question. He didn't answer the question. I mean, you hear that? Because he doesn't know his head from his ass.
It seems like every 18-year-old with $100.
You hear that? Coffeezilla asked him, "Are we due for a market correction?" Seems like things are high. I mean, this is the essence of Patrick Ball, complete fucking bullshit artist. This is why I said he doesn't know his head from his ass. I can tell, folks. It's easy for me to tell if somebody knows what's going on. Okay, I knew that. I told you guys before. I mean, you don't have to say just yes or no. You can explain. It's not just a yes or no answer, but certainly, you talk about that. You talk about valuations. You talk about speculation. You talk about, if you understand what's going on, you say, well, wait a second. First of all, we have to ask ourselves the question, what is a correction? When you say correction, what are you talking about? 5% is a correction. 10% is a correction. Is a correction 20%, or is that a crash? And then you have to then say, well, so we need to understand what you're talking about. Let's talk about the possibilities here, because if it's not a huge issue, we don't want to scare people out of the market, right? If it's a correction, that just means it's a buying opportunity, right? You understand? I mean, this opens the door to really understanding what we're talking about, so you don't screw up your head with the right psychology. But of course, Patrick Ball doesn't know this, and certainly Coffeezilla doesn't know this. I mean, this is what I fucking do. I'm the top in the world in forecasting the market and securities analysis. Anyway. The game is rigged. Let's hear what he has to say about that.
Now, pivoting a bit from that, and this is sort of one of the final questions I want to ask you. It does appear to me that the game is rigged, okay? And so my question is sort of, so now what? So
Coffeezilla, he wants to go in and just conform to Michael Lewis's little premise. The game is rigged. Michael Lewis wrote this stupid book, and of course his book was Michael Lewis is another useful idiot, because he basically distracts from the main issue, right? He distracts from the main fraud, the big fraud on Wall Street, and claims these other things are going on, you see? And one of the things, he wrote some stupid book about high frequency trading, right? That's he's saying the game is rigged because of high frequency trading. When in fact, he had an opportunity, as I exposed during that same period, probably the first person in the world to publicly expose what was going on. And I made that video about 12 years ago. I talked about Michael Lewis and E-Trade, and I talked about how there was payment for order flow going on before. Nobody had a fucking clue about that term. I talked about how I first discovered what was going on with Citadel back in 2010 or so, 2010, 2011. I talked about how Citadel began paying for order flow. That's why they invested in E-Trade when E-Trade was going to go bankrupt, and nobody really knew that. So my point is that Michael Lewis wrote this stupid book about high frequency trading, basically saying that that's why the market's rigged. It's because you've got people with faster connections to the markets than you. They can make trades faster than you. It's fucking just stupid. Okay. Did he talk about high frequency trading? I mean, did he talk about payment for order? I mean, payment for order flow is the scam. Whether or not you have a faster connection than me, that's fucking stupid. Just get a faster connection. Sorry, you don't have a fast connection? Okay, get one. Get a T1 line, whatever. Right? That's like saying, well, I don't have enough money to make a lot of money in the stock market because I only have a little bit amount of money. I can't, well, get more money. Right? That's people that can access the markets faster. Well, that's just, if you can't do that, sorry. Try and do it. That's not fraud. Fraud is payment for order flow. And I actually was the first person in the world to expose that many, many, many years ago. Okay. In addition, Michael Lewis could have talked about how, and I mentioned this in that video many years ago, how if you work in the industry, you actually, and I can't speak for what happens now, but I'd say there's no difference. You get the news feeds before the public. Okay? Thomson Reuters, on the Reuters feeds, Reuters is a news wire. As they've gotten into the business of opinion, and that's kind of, they're not really credible anymore, but they still do news wires, right? So a lot of the news wires, the news releases come out through Reuters. Well, guess what? If you work in the industry, you get access to those news wires as they go online, which is about 10 minutes before they hit the media. Why do I say that? Well, because think about it. Now, Reuters is going to say, well, we do all this at the same time. Everybody gets it at the same time. Yeah, but by the time it's reported to you, it takes a few minutes because you don't have a live feed. Therefore, Wall Street gets, you could say to some extent, kind of an insider edge for like trades, right? If there's a news report release, if there's a drug approved or a drug approval that's denied or earnings miss or whatever, Michael Lewis could have talked about that. He could have, nobody knows about this. You see? These people are all fucking frauds, folks. If they have exposure, you better fucking believe they're scammers. They're part of the system to fuck you. That's why they have the exposure. That's the golden rule. Write it the fuck down. I've proven this time and time again, year after year. Let's listen to this. He wants to tell you the game is real.
Finding crypto a lot is that the influencers and the developers are often in on it. They sort of collude marketing deals. They have private sales. They exclude the average investor. They always just sort of know things that the average investor does not. And sometimes they collude to scam, obviously, but most of the time they just have more information. So the game is tilted. And this isn't new, though. This has sort of always been the case in traditional markets as well, of asymmetric knowledge. What would you tell investors who are looking at the market? They see that, but the answer doesn't seem to me to be to just throw up your hands and go, well, I guess I'll never invest in anything because the game is rigged. I don't think that's a good answer. What would you tell to people who sort of realize that?
The game isn't as rigged as people think. The problem when you look at things like crypto, it's like looking at
the game isn't as rigged as you think. I just told you guys, I gave you two examples. I didn't even mention all the insider trading going on. Okay, there's a massive amount of insider trading. But of course, it's difficult to specifically prove all of that, but I know for a fact. In fact, I told you all the story about GLG. And I was involved with GLG, and I started noticing like I wasn't getting any fucking calls back during the financial crisis when I should be flooded. And the reason why was because GLG, which is the expert network, the hedge funds weren't concerned with real research. And this explains what's going on in the market. They don't care about real research. They got insider information. So GLG, the hedge funds were contacting people that worked at corporations who were telling them what they thought earnings were going to be. They were basically selling insider information. And they actually did a documentary on that after. And of course, the guy who runs GLG, he's related to all these mafia guys, by the way. Nothing happened to him. Why? Well, folks, it's a remember these media guys, these platforms, the laws. Who do you think is responsible for passing these laws that protects these media companies and these websites? It's a whole fucking mafia that's going on. Okay. Anyway, you might want to watch the documentary on, I guess it's maybe like expert network, and you can probably find it. Anyway, let's get back now. Here you go. Oh yeah, he also promoted this bagel boy, plain bagel. Okay. Actual analyst. No, he's not. I've already exposed this guy. He's not an actual analyst. No, he's not. He's a fake analyst. This is another dishonest person. Steve Coffin, you're dishonest. You're a fucking liar. You're not an analyst. Oh, real analyst. No, you're not. So he calls himself an analyst. Why? Well, because he passed the CFA exam, Certified Financial Analyst. That doesn't make you an analyst. If someone comes out and says, I'm an analyst, I'm an investment analyst, that implies that you're working for a firm that actually does real research, right? And you have publications of that research, right? Well, if you look into the CFA Institute, this is the organization that administers the exams and provides the certification, the licensing for CFA, you will see that you're not allowed to call yourself an analyst. You're supposed to designate yourself as a CFA chart holder or charter holder. You're a charter holder of the CFA. You're not supposed to call yourself an analyst. Look into it. Okay? The CFA specifically tells you that. You're not supposed to call yourself an analyst because if you have the CFA. In fact, if you're a real analyst working on Wall Street, you have exams and licenses you have to have taken. You have certain licensing requirements. Okay? You cannot call yourself an analyst unless, of course, people do it. Kevin calls himself a financial analyst, right? But the point is that he's working at a firm, and he's not an analyst. He does no. Well, I analyze stocks. So what? Who doesn't? He's a fraud. Steve Coffin, plain bagel, you're a fraud. You've misrepresented yourself. And I've also gone to his channel in the past, said, no, you're not an analyst. And told him why. Okay? Once again, the difference is when you're working, when you are working at an investment firm and you call yourself an analyst versus someone who's not working at an investment firm and calls himself an analyst, that's a big difference. Both of them are lying, unless the person that works at an investment firm is really, truly an analyst. The person working in an investment firm that calls himself an analyst but who's really not is a big violator. That's a big problem. Why? Because he's going to tell you that he works at an investment firm and he's telling you he's an analyst, right? Versus a person who comes on YouTube and says, I'm an analyst. You understand? He's promoting himself as a legitimate analyst that has duties and responsibilities of researching and publishing research for the benefit of that firm. That's a different level of scamming. It's a much higher level. You understand? And so now if you go on his channel, his description, he will tell you he's a portfolio manager. He no longer says this. He no longer describes himself as an analyst. Because, of course, he saw my videos a couple of years ago when I first called him out. That's right. Who else is calling him out? He has no publications, okay? Go on his firm's website and see. I already looked a long time ago. And this is a guy, by the way, I mean, honestly, he thinks his firm. Let me tell you, this guy is opening his firm up for potential lawsuits. I can tell you right now, if the people understood that are clients that his firm, they don't understand they can sue. I'm not even going to get into that. Okay. Of course it's Ricky. He works for a small shop, a little like 5-6 man firm. Okay. There's no research department. There's no real research. What's going on? You understand? There's no research reports. There's nothing. Okay. So he gamed the system like Patrick Boyle. He's dishonest. In my opinion, he's defrauding people. And Coffeezilla is also defrauding people. Coffeezilla is making money promoting someone who calls himself an analyst. You understand? Coffeezilla is not only promoting this guy, and this guy is deceiving people, but Coffeezilla is making money through this deception while building this guy's channel. And he calls himself a fake guru detective? Really? Coffeezilla, you're a fraud, dude. You're a fraud. That's what you are. Write it the fuck down. You're a fraud. Okay. Somebody might want to call into that little firm, their little shop, their little like 5-man advisor shop. They got like more like staffers than they have advisors, I think. Right? You might want to call in and ask about this guy. So why are you allowing this guy on YouTube to call himself an analyst? Do you understand it's a legal problem? And they're going to be like, oh shit, people know. I guarantee you. I guarantee if you call in and you talk about that to these guys, one of the head guys, you'll see Patrick Boyle not long after change his description to be very much more explicit. Even though it's pretty explicit now, he's changed it. He may even make a video. You see? No legit fucking firm is going to let a financial advisor make a YouTube channel. Okay? They're not going to do it. There's too much liability. It's just I've talked about this before. I mean, why do you think you don't see it? You may see it one or two. I just tell you right now, they're not legit as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't call them legit. You're not going to do that. That's bizarre. They're trying to they want to market because he's telling his firm. So they want to benefit from any idiots that they recruit from YouTube, but they don't want to pay the price of the downside of mischaracterization. You understand? It's a big problem. Potentially. Probably not because the people that aren't going to know. But you should call in and talk to one of the head guys and tell them that this is not smart on their part. You see, to allow this guy to go on YouTube making headlines like real analyst talks about GameStop. Right? So in other words, not only is he calling himself an analyst, because that's a generic term, he's saying, look, I'm an analyst and I work at this financial firm. That's a big difference than some fucking clown calling himself an analyst generically. You understand? That's a huge deal. Legally. Okay? FYI. Coffeezilla, dude, you're an incompetent fucking useful idiot. That's what you are. And you're a grifter. You're promoting scammers. You're promoting dishonest people to make money. Right? And so you're going to see little clown books, Richard's books list. Okay, clown books. Okay. I mean, can you imagine all these guys, Folks, if you got these guys, you haven't read my book that predicted the financial crisis, that's one of the best investment books of all time. I mean, it has to be. That tells anybody who's not putting my book up there is just an idiot. They're clueless. They're clown. Somebody refute to me that my book, America's Financial Apocalypse, the original 2006 edition, is not one of the best investment books of all time. It is, guaranteed. Tell someone, and I'm talking high-level expert, someone who knows what's going on. Come on, tell me. Read the book, see what's happened, and tell me. Could have made a fortune. Read my books. Here you go, Patrick Boyle again. And Coffeezilla, look at this clickbait. Do this immediately. Hedge fund manager breaks down GameStop. Do this immediately. You see that? You know, the GameStop meme hype, right? All this crap, crazy crap going on. So Coffeezilla, take a look. Hedge fund manager breaks down GameStop, right? Do this immediately. He's trying to lure all the suckers. You understand? He's gaming the ad system, Coffeezilla. He's still calling him a fund manager. No. I mean, I'm not even going to watch this stupid video. You're not going to ever get any real valuable substance from Patrick Boyle on the capital markets. I can guarantee you that. This guy, he's like so disconnected from the fucking markets. He's like, it's like everything he knows he reads in a book. It's kind of. So here we go now. Here's the meat and potatoes you all been waiting for. Sorry, this is the meat and potatoes. Logan Paul sued me. Okay. So let's listen to this a little bit here.
Logan Paul is suing me for CryptoZoo only a year after he thanked me for it. Rather than pay back his victims fully, Logan would rather publicly humiliate himself in court by accusing me of defaming him. He's hired 5 lawyers to sue me, which he hopes will stop me from exposing him again. You see, only hours before this lawsuit was filed, I had reached out to Logan Paul about a new investigation into one of his companies, which has just been accused by the Canadian government of being a multi-layered fraud in Canada. I obviously had questions, but before I was able to get answers, Logan's team of lawyers showed up to silence me. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to go through this lawsuit. I'm going to tell you how to support us if you want, because while I didn't think I'd need help, I was wrong. But before we get to my mistake, let's start with Logan's.
This is all about e-begging, okay? Remember, Coffeezilla has made a small fortune slamming Logan Paul, right? He's gotten 50, 60, 70 million views slamming Logan Paul. Okay? That's a lot of money. A few $100,000. Now, remember, he was already e-begging 2 years before. Seems like he's always got an excuse to bring in money. Now, here's going to tell you why he needs that money. He got scammed for $1 million. So notice, I got scammed for $1 million. Clickbait. He didn't get scammed. He's incompetent. He didn't read his insurance policy. You see? You didn't get scammed. You agreed, you signed something, you agreed to it, and you didn't read the policy. You always need to read the exclusions in an insurance policy. You see, if you don't read the exclusions, you don't even know what you have. That's the key to insurance. is reading what they don't fucking cover. The omissions, the exclusions. Okay? And this is what, so let's go ahead and listen to this.
I got scammed for $1 million, and here's my story. You may have seen the video on my main channel where I talk about how we should have been covered up to $1 million for this lawsuit against Logan Paul because we have what's called media insurance or errors and omissions insurance. The reason I got this, the reason most media companies get this is because of defamation lawsuits, especially if you're going to do original reporting on very rich people and accuse them of things like scamming. You know, people don't take too kindly to that. And many times they will threaten to frivolously sue you. Sometimes they even will sue you, and you have to be prepared to defend yourself. It's very expensive, and so you want some way to do that. So you can get insured for that. You can get insured for defamation.
Let me give you guys a little education, by the way, on that. Defamation, there's a few things that most people, not a whole lot of people, know about. The first thing is, if you are a public figure, high-profile figure, high-profile person, the bar is low, is set much lower, right, for the defense. It's set much higher if you're the person, the high-profile person that wants to sue someone for defamation. In other words, if you're high-profile, it's easier for someone to criticize you. And it's more difficult for that high-profile person to win a case of defamation, simply for the fact that you're high-profile. The bar is much higher for that proof. That's just a basic fact. Okay? If you're low-profile, it's much easier. Number two, the concept of malice, the intent to cause harm to someone's business, that's a big factor. Someone comes out just to try and ruin your business. That's their intent. That's going to be a big strike against you if you're getting sued. Number three is reckless disregard. If you come out and just like blabber and just say stupid stuff, oh, you're a scammer, and you don't actually investigate things logically, critically, then you're going to lose a lawsuit if someone sues you for defamation. Okay? Now, Coffeezilla doesn't do that, of course. He does look into stuff. Is he incompetent? Well, you can answer that question for yourself, just based upon the material I've gone over with Patrick Boyle, with Plain Bagel, so on and so forth. But I don't think there's malice. I haven't seen him anything malice, and reckless disregard. I don't think so. I'm not gonna accuse him of that. I haven't really seen a whole lot of his videos, but a couple that I have seen, I don't think he plays that tune. There are people that do though, and for those people out there, reckless disregard, right? That's an open and shut case. You can't just go out and just blabber. You better have the proof and go into it and show people. Otherwise, it's gonna be an open and shut case on defamation. Which, if you get sued for defamation, by the way, it's very costly for defense. There's no fucking pro bono, right? You're gonna have to pay somebody an hourly rate to defend you. So with that little tutorial on defamation, let's continue now. So he's being sued, Logan Paul, for defamation, but he thinks he's covered.
And we've actually used the same type of defamation insurance or errors and omissions insurance to cover ourselves before and successfully done that. This time we thought it would be no different. So when we got sued, I saw a lot of great support from people saying, look, I want to help. I want to help you, kind of you should do a GoFundMe or whatever. And
so you hear this now? This is part of the Masterclass. This is where the Masterclass begins. He's basically saying, before people offered to give me money. And I said, no, I don't need your money. I've got insurance, right? I'm a good guy. I'm an honest guy. I don't ask for money when I don't need it. Oh, oops, except for here. You see that? He's already been asking for money. You see?
Guy I have been very critical of on this show. I'm talking about BitBoy Crypto.
Oops. Here we go.
And I said to myself, well, look, I don't want to do that because I don't need it. And many commenters knew that I had insurance and they said, hey, he doesn't need it. Don't worry. He's got this errors and omissions insurance. I was like, yeah, you're right. You know, that's.
So notice that now. And you might want to investigate this and go to the videos. So it's sounding like to me, what really happened was people started offering to help him. And some people in the comment section said, oh, he's got insurance. You don't need to do that. And after that, he probably said, yeah, that's right. So the question is, what would he have done? Would he have said anything if people weren't aware? You understand?
True. Except then I called my insurance company to put in a claim. I'm like, yo, knock, knock. Policy. I'm like shocked to find, yeah, okay, sure enough. Yep, you guys are excluded from defamation. Confused. I go to my policy, make an error about some random person.
So another thing, I'm not going to play this, but if you listen to this video, there's at least 2 or 3 times where he goes through specifically and he says, well, so we have to pay a higher amount for insurance because we've already had a partial claim before. And you notice he'll say, we had to pay a lot more and we're happy to do it. He'll say, we're happy to do it. So he's throwing that out there, that little phrase, we're happy to do it. Oh, we're happy to pay the money. We don't care. We'll pay a lot more. As if he's not a greedy person. We're happy to do it. Coffeezilla, why don't you disclose the amount of money that you've pulled in all these years with your bullshit, your bogus detective work and your reporting, your news reporting, and promoting, in other words, the money you've pulled in promoting scammers and scam ads, the money you've pulled in after having promoted Tom Nash, the fraudster, after having promoted dishonest Patrick Boyle, dishonest Plain Bagel. Why don't you tell us how much money you're bringing in, right? If you're telling people you need money for something, well, why don't you disclose the money that you're making? You see? How much money do people know that you need? They don't, right? I mean, why don't you disclose how much money you're getting? See, when you've got millions of followers, right, you could potentially bring in millions of dollars because people don't know how much everyone else is giving them. You understand? It's all dishonest. That's a whole dishonest, simply for the fact that you're asking for money without disclosing how much money you're getting is dishonest. And remember, he's supposed to be an honest guy. He's going after the scammers. But maybe he's doing a little scam himself.
In media, you call it defamation. I mean, if CNN goes on and they make an error about some random person, that person's not going to sue them for the error. They're going to sue them for defamation. So I was confused. I was like wildly confused. I go to my policy. I'm like shocked to find, yeah, okay, sure enough. Yep, you guys are excluded from defamation. And I'm like, how did this happen? So that requires the full story. So that's the TLDR. Scam for $1 million.
You see that? So he calls it a scam because he didn't read the insurance policy. No, you weren't scammed. You're just a fucking idiot. Remember, folks, this is a guy who, now, anybody who's not familiar with insurance, right? First time you get burned, you didn't realize, okay. But remember, this is a guy, and I'm sure this is not his first insurance policy, right? Or his first claim. He has no excuse on the level of being a normal human being. But he's got the bar raised higher, right? Why? Because he's the detective, right? He goes through, he's meticulous, he's detailed. He goes through stuff. Does he? I think this shows exactly how much investigation he does. He spends his time and effort on the smoke and mirrors, little effects on his videos and all this bullshit. Okay? That's what he does. It's not a scam. This is a fraud clickbait to get views. Not just to get views, to get sympathy and to get people to give him money. Coffeezilla has officially entered the mode of scam artists now.
If they had paid out the whole claim, right? Like, that's obviously a big part of this. Ultimately, we paid, like, I think during the lifetime of this insurance, we probably paid like a few tens of thousands of dollars to this insurance. So it hasn't been cheap to pay for insurance that ultimately did nothing. So we, at minimum, got scammed for that amount. If you actually look at the total policy.
See, so he's not willing, and he has these videos talking about how Logan Paul doesn't want to take accountability for his actions. Right? You can just go through and watch the video. It's all about him telling you Logan Paul doesn't want to take accountability. He wants to blame me. Yet this guy, Coffeezilla, Stephen Findleston, doesn't want to take accountability for his own mistake, for his own incompetence of not reviewing the insurance policy, of not reading the policy. He wants to call that a scam. He wants to claim the insurance company is scamming him. No, it doesn't work that way. Remember, folks, he's a guy, he's a detective. I mean, think about it. He's calling himself, he's on a higher level. He's able to detect all the scams. That's what he would have you believe, right? He's telling you he goes through and does all this stuff, investigations, right? And the same guy who doesn't even bother to check his insurance policy. And on top of that, he doesn't take responsibility. Instead, he wants to tell you that he got scammed. Why? You feel sorry for him. You want to help him. You see that? This is the subtle art, or the art of subtle e-begging. You see that? You see what he's doing?
Policy we had, it was up to $1 million. So I don't think it's a stretch to say we got scammed for $1 million. But the full story, I think, is even more interesting. So initially, we had gotten a message from another YouTuber who had just been in a lawsuit. This is how we started getting into this whole thing. And they told us, look, dude, I just paid $250,000. We were small at this time. He goes, I just got paid $250,000 to fight this lawsuit. I'm in the right. It's totally frivolous. This guy knows it. You need to make sure you get this thing called errors and omissions insurance so you can be protected like I wasn't. So we were a small channel, and relatively the insurance was going to be very expensive for us. But I appreciated that, and I thought, that's really wise. If this channel continues in a certain direction, in the type of content that I want to produce, we need to have this. So we found a broker who kind of advertised himself as like, look, every YouTuber needs defamation insurance. If they're going to be publicly talking about news, about like different topics. So you get a hold of this guy and we say, hey, we want that. So he goes, great. So he shops us around some insurance, and we pretty immediately find some carriers who are willing to take us, because at the time our channel was much smaller. And I would just say it's like less risky, so to speak, because the smaller you are, the less people are going to see it. It's just not as big of a risk. So we get covered. And in 2019 or 2020, we get a cease and desist letter from Dan Locke. Okay, I'm just trying to remember the year. I'm not so clear about the years, but I just remember we got a cease and desist from Dan Locke. It was one of our first. And the guy showed up at our house, really freaked us out. He's like, hey, are you blah, blah, blah? I'm like, yes. He's like, oh, not you've been served, but like here, this is, aha, we got you. So the cease and desist, it ultimately turned, now that you've used the thing you paid for, we have to charge you a lot more for it. It's maybe like getting into an accident with like car insurance. But what I find a little unfair about this is we did nothing wrong. Like, we didn't do anything. In fact, our claims, I think, were fair, and I don't think they were defamatory at all. But either way, the price goes up. We're happy to pay it. We're like, sure.
There you go. This is this one. We're happy to pay. Price goes up. We're happy to. You see that? So that's kind of, you're sure you're happy because you got all this money coming in. All this money coming in. from selling ads from scammers. You're taking money in. You're taking blood money, money from the devil. You're taking in money selling scam ads, ads for scammers, guys that you claim to call out. On your videos, I see ads from scammers.
We don't care. As the years go, our channel starts getting bigger. And the channel, from an insurer's point of view, gets more risky, right? They're like, you're bigger, you get more views, therefore, more eyeballs see it. You need to pay more money. Always happy to do that. Fine, whatever.
You hear that? Always happy to do. Always happy. But he's not happy to pay for his mistake. He wants you to pay for his mistake. He wants you, and think about this, you, the audience, the subscribers of Coffeezilla, who he doesn't mind putting you in harm's way to post scam ads. He wants to make money selling scam ads on his channel for his viewers, his audience, putting them in potential harm's way. He doesn't mind making that money. When it comes time to his failure, his mistake, due to incompetence, he wants his subscribers to give him money. You see that? But of course, he was already e-begging 2 years before. Support the channel. See that? So, this is what you're talking about here, folks. This is what you're dealing with here. This guy, he talks about Logan Paul, who's not accountable. He doesn't want to be accountable for his actions. Instead, he wants to blame Coffeezilla. Yet Coffeezilla is incompetent, doesn't read his own insurance policy, and he wants to go to his viewers, his subscribers, to ask for money. And he gets other people like this Legal Eagle fucking weasel bullshit artist to come in, support Coffeezilla. Because they're all in the same circle jerk. You understand? So it's kind of like, here's kind of the affiliate scam. Somebody who wants to make money pitching books. This is why, folks, anytime there's money involved, somebody's selling something, it's a scam. It's not legitimate. Why? Well, the people who, for instance, you saw Patrick Boyle's book list there. He's going to put the books that have the most attention, the most, he's not going to put a no-name book. He's going to put a book where it's widely perceived that the book is good. Widely perceived, notice I put. Why? Because he wants to sell books. He wants to make money selling books. The best books out there, nonfiction, I said, notice nonfiction, in terms of like business, investment, they're going to be low profile. Okay, generally speaking. You're not going to have heard of them. Okay. The whole scam, to pitch affiliate links, you want to make sure and pitch books that people have heard of. Oh, I've heard of that book. Okay, I'm going to buy it. Because they want to make the most money off the affiliate links, you see. It's kind of like what happens on YouTube. Where, for instance, this guy I mentioned, this Legal Eagle, he wants to come out and tell everyone how Coffeezilla is being wronged by Logan Paul. This terrible, the lawsuit. Support Coffeezilla. Why? Because Coffeezilla's got a lot of subscribers. So the Legal Eagle and all these other people, they want to align themselves with people who have a lot of subscribers. The same reason why you'll see people getting interviewed. I talked about that one guy interviewing Patrick Boyle. He wants his subscribers. You understand the dishonesty that's going on, folks? And it's all because of what? It's all because there's money attached. You see? It's all about ad-based content. It's all about monetization. You understand? Somebody's telling you to buy a book, and it's an affiliate link through Amazon or what have you. Never believe it. It's bullshit. Why do they want to make money telling you a book that they like? That's just one example. You all understand the big picture here, what's going on the internet, all these fucking scams, how it's all related, how people are getting interviewed, how they're pitching this and that. It's all about making money. And they don't tell you that. They want to make you think, oh, it's a great book. Oh, I want to interview this person because they're really insightful. No, you want to get their subscribers to come be your subscribers. You want to get their subscribers to come view your video watching their cult leader so they can get more views, so you can make more money through ads, so you can have an opportunity to pitch them their affiliate links in your courses. Why isn't anyone exposing this? It's not that difficult to understand. Coffeezilla has now entered the realm of blatant scammer, in my opinion. Okay, in my opinion. He knows what he's doing. He knows he's gaming the ad system. He knows that most of the ads on YouTube are scams or very scammy. He knows that. Yet, why does he monetize? Because that's why he's got the channel, folks. You don't need to monetize to expose scams and scammers. I've been doing it for the better part of 20 years. Okay? And I've gone after guys he couldn't even dream of going after because he doesn't have the expertise. I've gone after high-level guys. Okay? Influential people. Right? I've taken down the whole media. You understand? He won't even go after guys like Robert Kiyosaki or Tony Robbins. Why? I'm scared I'm going to get sued. Right? That's not going to give you the clicks either, is it? He wants to go after the most outrageous scammers who have already been exposed. Their scams are obvious, but they get a lot of clicks. His audience is mainly kids and dumbed down adults. Right? He goes after the people who he thinks he can get the most ad views from. You see? It's all about making the money. That's all. So, I can't show the full videos. I don't want to, I can't show it all. You might want to watch this video in its entirety, and you might want to watch this Logan Paul sued me, and just think about, go through and see all the subtle tactics. I've already shown you a few of them. It's a common theme. He wants to tell you Logan Paul is the bad guy, right? He's not accepting responsibility. And now that Coffeezilla screwed up, didn't inspect his own insurance, he wants you to pay for the lawsuit. Now remember, Coffeezilla has made a small fortune smashing Logan Paul, right? I mean, Logan, so he's going to go after the big guys. Logan Paul, like the people who get all the exposure, right? In fact, it's funny because, this Mr. Beast who, like, I knew the guy's a scammer. I mean, I don't even pay attention. It's like obviously a scam. Obviously the guy is scamming people. I don't even have to look at his videos. And now it's come out how he's scamming people, how he's been scamming people. But Coffeezilla couldn't expose it because he didn't know about it. He didn't know about it. You see? Otherwise, he would have gone after Mr. Beast. He'll get the views. Does he go after Eric Berg? I've shown you Eric Berg, right? Dr. Berg, the chiropractor. He doesn't have the fucking expertise to expose him. He just goes after little dimwit shit. It's all about getting the views, the clicks, with no expertise. Coffeezilla has zero fucking expertise. You can see that. He wasn't even able to spot Patrick Boyle as an ex-hedge fund manager who was day trading. He got Patrick Boyle interviewed him to expose day trading. And Patrick Wall was actually doing day trading himself with his little fund when he was involved. I mean, think about that. You can't even make this shit up. People won't believe you. Right? This is what you're dealing with, folks. And he's going to make a lot of money because not only his own e-begging, he's got people to e-beg for him. You see that? Legal Eagle. This fucking guy's a bullshit artist, right? A failed attorney. Like I said, folks, real professionals aren't on YouTube. They're on YouTube, but they failed. Look at this. Logan Paul sued Coffeezilla and it's crap. And he comes, oh, support Coffeezilla, right? Scott Schaefer, same thing. Support Coffeezilla. Oh, Scott, you're so... And so what this does also is it makes him look like, oh, you're a nice guy. You're helping them. People are fucking stupid. They're helping themselves. So take a look here. So Scott Schaefer repeats this whole thing. Why? Well, it gets him views. Makes him look like the good guy. He's supporting Coffeezilla. Coffeezilla is perceived as the good guy. Of course, Scott Schaefer is he's an aspiring fake guru detective. Right? Scott Schaefer's banned me from his channel for basically saying, Scott, you're not capable of uncovering anything. And, Scott Schaefer, he's another one of these guys. It's, like I said, people, everybody on YouTube is one of two categories. They're either broke dick fucking losers who are not capable of being employed or very marginally employed, or they're scammers who want to increase their scam bank account, right? Well, you can, Scott Schaefer's pretty much in the same ballpark as Coffeezilla. These guys are kind of not really employable, marginally employed, right? So they want to up their career. Whoring for scammers, selling ads for scammers on YouTube. You see? And so take a look here. If you want to support Coffeezilla, you can do it here. Oh, you're such a nice guy. Wow. Wait, support a guy who screwed up? Support him. Why? He's making a shitload of money, right? And he fucked up, and he wants you to make up for his mistake. You understand? Scott, why don't you talk about that? Why don't you make a video just like what I've talked about? Because you're not a fucking detective. You're a fucking clown. You sell dog food on Amazon. That's your job. And you want to up your career. I mean, folks, this is what I'm talking about. Real, credible people aren't on YouTube monetizing their channel. I don't consider myself on YouTube, right? I'm exposing these fuckers. I don't consider myself, right? If I was on YouTube, I would have gotten on YouTube 15, 16, 17 years ago, right? But I saw back then it's just fucking bullshit. It's a bunch of idiots. I don't want to market to idiots. So you see this? Now remember, Scott Schaefer is the guy who previously, after being called out many times, he was promoting Robinhood. He promoted Robinhood affiliate links on his channel. Robinhood's a scam. Robinhood, folks, just because Robinhood exists doesn't mean it's not a fucking criminal company, a scam, because it is. You can write it the fuck down. I mean, you think Fiverr is legit? Fiverr's on the stock market. They're a fucking scam company, right? They've been fined and sued many times. Robinhood has been fined. I mean, if you're a big company, folks, you can basically engage in fucking fraud and crime, and you just pay the regulators a fee, and it's okay, right? For instance, Facebook, Google, right? Look at Boeing. Boeing fucking killed people, murdered 500 people. Nobody's in jail. You understand? So, Robinhood is a criminal company. I exposed that a long time ago, about 7 years ago. Okay? And Scott Schaefer was making money promoting Robinhood. after it was already fined for deceiving people without show. In fact, the fine that Robinhood got, I think $300 million, was only because Robinhood didn't disclose in their terms that they were selling order flow, which I pointed out that fucking clown, that scam artist who runs the company is a fucking idiot, because he should have realized that the brainless, twerpy kids that use Robinhood aren't going to even fucking read the terms of service. And if they did, they wouldn't understand the legal verbiage and the ramifications of selling order flow. They wouldn't even understand. They're not going to say, oh, we're going to sell order flow. They're going to put it in different terms. They wouldn't understand any of that. They wouldn't care. Oh, I'm getting the trading for free. That's all they, you understand. That's how stupid the fucking CEO was. Even after that, even after failure to disclose, Scott Schaefer still selling Robinhood affiliate links. But he got slammed over and over again, right? I showed you guys even the comments about people criticizing him for making money, monetizing, selling ads for scammers. And he wants to defend that. He wants to argue, no, it's Google that's doing it. Well, you know what Google's putting on your channel, boy. Okay? Stop running away. Stop giving a stupid straw man argument. You have signed a contract with YouTube to allow them to put any videos, any ads they want to on your channel. And you know most of the ads, especially for the content that you go over, are going to be scam ads. And especially for the people who are going to watch the channel. And all that's feeding into the algorithm, what ads they see. He knows that. He doesn't care. Folks, if you are truly out to expose scams and scammers, don't you think the first thing you should do is to make sure you don't have any fucking ads, or you're not, I can't control it. Apparently YouTube is putting scam ads on my channel, but I'm not making money from that. Make sure, and I tell you, look, folks, everybody needs an ad blocker. Have an ad blocker. You got to be a fucking idiot to not have an ad blocker in 2024. Are you fucking kidding me? Right? You'd never be making money off of ads, especially if you are telling people that you are exposing scams and scammers. Think about that. That's a fraud. That's a hypocrite. Anyone who claims to expose scams and scammers who's monetizing their channel is a fraud. Write it down, because they have scams. They're making money selling scams on their channel. They're just pretending to call out scams just to get the views so they can sell scams. You can't make this up. Nobody would believe it. But that's what they're doing. They're pretending to be a scam detector to get you to watch the scam video so they can sell you scam ads. Can you believe it? So let's take a look here. He's going to be seen as a good guy. Scott, you're so noble. You're helping him. That's good. Look, I don't know anyone willing to put another person's Patreon in both the pinned comment and description, making me realize why I've been sub to you for a year now. You see? Folks, these people on YouTube, they're fucking stupid. All of you listening to me, I know you're going to hate me. I don't care. You're fucking dumb. I'm trying to help you. Stay off the internet. Stay off social media. Stay off ScrewTube. That will help you. Look, it's times like these that show who are the good people. Scott is a good guy. Oh, is he really? Is he really a good guy? Or is he a grifter? You tell me. Scott sells affiliate scams, Robinhood. Now he removed it because of pressure. He sells ads he makes money selling scam ads. Right? He makes videos reporting on scams that's in the news. He reads a fucking news story, and he's making money off that. He's there to put you in harm's way while he makes money. He counts his money that he got from the scammers on the scam ads. Understand? That's what Scott Schaefer's all about. Because, I mean, after all, he's selling dog food. That's his fucking career, selling dog food. So he wants to have a better life for himself. He doesn't want to get a fucking honest job. Instead, he wants to claim that he can show you how to correctly build wealth through the stock market. Scott, please tell us how you're going to show people how to correctly build wealth through the stock market. What's your expertise? I mean, think that right there shows the guy's a fucking scammer. Correctly build wealth through the stock. Look at that. That's what his channel is all about, right? Exposing fake gurus, FBA, because Scott does FBA, right? I mean, alt FBA, anyone promoting that's a fucking scam, okay? I'm not even going to get into that. Crypto scammers and stock market scammers, okay? So what stock market scammers has he exposed? None. Folks, understand what exposing means. Criticizing someone, okay? Reporting that they've gotten a DUI, reporting that they live somewhere and this, no. Scott doesn't have the expertise to expose a stock market scammer, the true expertise. Just like Coffeezilla doesn't. They don't have the knowledge. Okay? That's why Scott focuses on superficial, dumb things. That's why Scott, he doesn't want to point out what an idiot he is. He didn't come out and say, gosh, you know what? I looked into Tom Nash, and it seems like his claims of his credentials aren't true. It seems like they're not true. That world-class authority, Mike Stathis, who's been offering Tom $10,000 all this time to show his credentials, right? Seems like Stathis knew. How did Stathis know he was fake? That Nash was lying. Because Stathis is a world authority, right? You understand. I pointed out why Tom is a fraud many times, right? And I use my understanding of the investment world to do that. You understand? You get it, folks? You see what I'm saying? Does Scott talk about that? No, he doesn't. Not at all. Right? Instead, what Scott does is he becomes kind of he placates for Tom Nash. He tells me in an email, oh well, Tom Nash says that $10,000 is small money for him. He's making $50,000 a month just from FTX endorsements. So he doesn't want to risk you exposing his personal information. And Scott was satisfied with that response. Does Scott give me a chance to say, oh, okay, I'll offer him $100,000. 10,000 is just a number. I'll offer him any amount of money. That's how dumb Scott is. That's who you're dealing with these people, folks. Okay? You understand? Does Scott say, look at this guy, right? Here's why Tom Nash is wrong. This guy Stathis points out that Tom Nash says that no one looks at a PE ratio. Nobody on Wall Street looks at a PE ratio. You understand? That's just one example. These people are all frauds with their own self-interest to make money through scam promotion. They're selling ads for scammers. That's the end of the story. That's the bottom line. See, look at this. Why is nobody letting us know the scam insurance company? Right? So these people have got everyone believing that the insurance company is a scam. Why? Because Scott says it's a scam, Coffeezilla says they're a scam, and all these fucking stupid people. That's right. If you're reading this now, Morristown, you're a dumbass. You people are fucking dipshits. You're disgustingly stupid. Okay? And I can't say on YouTube what I want you to do with yourself. I can't say it. Okay? So, there you have it. The insurance company didn't scam anybody. If anything, there is potentially some responsibility, some liability, possibly with the broker. Okay, the people who shop the insurance. However, You got to figure when Coffeezilla, apparently he said he's gotten that policy, I think, for 2 or 3 years. So he's got the policy for 2 or 3 years. At some point, is the broker responsible? I mean, at what point are you're not looking over your policy, right? So, but yet the whole narrative is pitched that Coffeezilla was scammed. Coffeezilla was scammed. Now, Coffeezilla, and this is how stupid people are. This is how stupid the YouTube audience is, right? They're not saying, wait a second, you didn't read your policy. They exclude that, folks. That's what insurance is. I mean, the whole insurance industry is a fucking scam. Why doesn't Coffeezilla do a video on that? I've been talking about that for years. The whole insurance industry is a scam because they exclude so many things, and by the time you actually see the policy, you have to go through all the exclusions. That's kind of the racket. But you can't get away from that. You can't get away from that. You have to go through the exclusions, right? You think you're insured? Okay, well, there's details involved. You've got to be familiar with all the details. He didn't even go through it at all. Okay, I'm covered. I mean, think about it for a second. You've got to go through the exclusions on an insurance policy. Why? Because you think you're covered for something, but there's always details, right? It's always in the fine print, always in the details. So, in other words, there could be situations whereby you might not be covered for defamation. For instance, let's say if you were actually, let's say you were being sued for defamation, but you were engaging in malice, right? I don't know what insurance company is going to insure somebody who, for defamation, who's engaged in malice. Trying to inflict intentional harm to the person's business or ability to earn an income, right? Or let's say you're insured for defamation. However, this does not apply if you have been involved with reckless disregard. If you have disregarded, you're completely oblivious to have gone through just going out and just calling someone a crook or a scammer, right? Without going through and investigating and showing details, right? You understand? You can't just, okay, I'm covered for defamation. That would be any fucking reckless idiot could go out and fucking blabber. You understand? So for that reason alone, you have to understand exactly what you're being covered for. I mean, come on. We all know this. Same thing with car insurance, right? Same thing with health insurance, right? But Coffeezilla doesn't go over this. And now he doesn't want to take responsibility. His whole narrative is he got scammed. Give me money because I got scammed. Please help me. I'm going after the crooks and the insurance companies scam me. Please help me. I'm doing it for you guys, right? And Scott Schaefer is going with that narrative because Scott Schaefer's a fucking idiot and a scammer because he wants to get in on the gravy train. He wants in on the gravy train. He wants the ad clicks, the advertisements, and he wants to support the Coffeezilla Club, the cult members to support him. You understand, folks? You understand? Like I said, you can see how this all operates. It all works. You see? It's all, at the end of the day, it's all about them being able to sell more ads. How can they get more subscribers to sell more ads? Right? And in many cases, more affiliate links. Right? How can they get more subscribers? Once they have enough subscribers, they'll sell you shit on a stick and make a lot of money. Just like Logan Paul, just like all these guys who started out as gamers, playing video games. Or I don't know if Logan Paul did, but a lot of these people, they start out playing video games and now they got 50 million subscribers and now they're selling all kinds of things. You understand? It's all about getting the subscribers. So what are you going to do? You're going to support the whole narrative. You're going to support Coffeezilla. Right? Because you're going to, remember, con artists form syndicates, right? Legal. He supports him. They're all in the syndicate, folks. They're all helping each other. Why? They're helping each other help themselves to the grifting gravy train, to build their channels bigger, get more subscribers, to sell more ads, to put their audience in harm's way. They don't care. Do you understand? That's what we're talking about here, folks. And you're not going to hear this anywhere else. YouTube has become a criminal fucking portal. And everybody on YouTube is monetizing. Like I said, they're all a bunch of parasites. All they care about is how they can make more money, how they can get more subscribers, how they can get more endorsement deals. That's what folks, every single person on YouTube that's monetized, this is what their mindset is. I want you to know this. You have to understand this. Now, in cases like, Grant Cardone, he's directly pitching his bullshit. Okay? Any money he's making off of YouTube, he's putting that back in to buy the YouTube ads, right? But at the end of the day, he's still playing the same game. He's exploiting the dipshit, mentally incompetent YouTube audience. That's what we're talking about here. A bunch of fucking scammers. Why can't you have someone, an influential scam tuber with a lot of subscribers, who at this point is making so much fucking money selling scam ads, go over this issue and say, you know what? No, I'm not going to monetize anymore. Because they're all greedy, money-worshipping pieces of shit. And at some point, of course, you'll have some of these big YouTubers will talk about something like this just to make them seem like they're noble. But guess what? They're still scamming people. They're still selling scam ads. They're still selling scammy affiliate links, right? They're still selling their bullshit. Once again, folks, no exceptions. You're monetizing on YouTube. You're a dishonest scammer. Take it to the fucking bank. And once again, they may not seem like it early on. They're building their channel, right? The seed is being planted. And then they get monetized. They start to see the money grow. And then it takes over more and more. And then they say, well, how can I make more videos? And it all becomes about making videos and getting clickbait. Yeah. And then it takes over. The content becomes all about how they can get more viewers and more engagement. This is how it works, folks.